I had the great pleasure of being invited to Logically's second event, LogicCon, in Columbus, Ohio, the week of the 15th of October, 2024. Logically is a managed service provider, but a very large one. I've also had the great pleasure of being acquired. I was the first MSP to be acquired by Logically. So I feel like I'm really part of the community still, a part of the family still. But I went on site. They had a great event. I set up the podcast booth. I had a lot of great conversations with the staff of Logically, with some vendors that were there, and some other people. It was a great time. I'm humbled and thankful that I got the opportunity to do that. The following is one of the conversations at this great event. I want to thank Logically for letting me do this. I had a great time. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word, discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission? How do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision, growth through learning from others. What is it about hunting and being outdoor you like?
It's that I'm not next to the computer screen.
Off the grid.
I spend no less than 40 hours a week behind a screen, and sometimes I want to get outside and not look at that.
We're here in Columbus, Ohio, Logically's second event, LogicCon. Are you from the area?
I am not. I joined the organization about 4 years ago, moved to Columbus 4 years ago, and recently relocated back to Madison, Wisconsin, which is where I was before that.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
Madison, that's where the university is.
It is.
Right? Yeah,
it is.
big college town.
It is.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
It is. It's very similar to Columbus.
Is it?
About a tenth of the size, but Big Ten University, capital city, some major organizations that are there, so very similar.
It's fascinating that the VP of Cybersecurity finds enjoyment and relaxing off the grid, away from it. Yeah, I guess it's good to kind of separate yourself because you can drive yourself crazy.
Exactly, it's the yin to the yang, right?
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of me on my day to day.
What is the attraction to cybersecurity?
For me, it was really getting into a more niche market inside of the IT industry, and so being able to kind of focus on that. Additionally, it was realistically is the up and coming trend, if you will, if not already there in IT. And so I was previously at another MSP, and I was the jack of all trades, right? I was doing everything. And so when I had an opportunity to join Logically and focusing really on the MSSP services, that's where I really found my niche and my drive.
The difference between a managed service provider and a managed service security provider is?
Yes, there is. So, typically an MSP is going to be that outsource agency that a company is going to use to do the basic stuff, the help desk, managing server environments, workstations, etc., keeping them patched, keeping them maintained, troubleshooting issues, right, resetting Outlook passwords, etc. The security provider is going to do a little bit more and be more granular, right? We talk about an MSP has individuals that go a mile long but an inch deep. The MSSP will have individuals who go an inch long and a mile deep.
Wow, I see. Yeah. But these days, every MSP has to have security knowledge.
Correct. So every MSP that's out there is starting to branch off, if they haven't already, into that space. Now, the question really becomes, are they knowledgeable experts in that space, right? Or are they partnering with an organization like Logically to be that secondary partner for the security services? I come by way of the Certain acquisition, the original cybersecurity MSSP that Logically acquired. And we did have some success in that field. We were partnering with other organizations to be the security wing for them. And so that's really kind of how we branched off and started to grow. And was obviously an attraction for Logically.
Yeah, very much so. It's a great company, isn't it?
It is. It is.
I was the first MSP they acquired.
Yeah.
2019.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great organization. When I talk to MSPs, Zach, there's three things that keep up at night.
Yep.
First, and it's been consistent the last 3 or 4 years. First is security. They're worried about their clients clicking on something. Second is human capital. How are they going to replace that technician? How are they going to get new ones? They're so expensive. Unemployment in IT is like 2.5%, something like that. And third is just growth with PE, and just generally they're tech led, and they're not good at sales and marketing. They want to know how to grow.
Yep.
How do you help with those?
You know, for me specifically and for my team, it's giving people the peace of mind, right? So having a firm understanding that with our customer base is that we're there to help them, and we operate 24/7, 365. That's a differentiator for us. This isn't just a standard 9 to 5, if you will. And so when customers are closing their doors, we're still awake, we're still monitoring things, and we're available at a phone call.
The theme of this event here, we're of course at Logically's event, we're at LogicCon, their second event here in Columbus, is cybersecurity.
Yep.
I just talked to so in the browser, there's just so many layers and layers, Zach. I mean, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and that's really where you have to have that trusted advisor, that partnered organization who you can bounce ideas off of.
Right.
And we welcome that from any current customer, prospect, even people from the community. We want to make sure that we're bettering the community with cybersecurity and security mindsets. And so we talk about how we're those security professionals, those experts. We're driving the bus for those customers, and they're along for the ride in the security realm.
I mean, I love technology because it constantly changes and it moves, and I hate technology because it constantly changes and moves. But I mean, cybersecurity is at a very different level. It's at a hyper level than just technology.
It is. It really is.
And oftentimes, I find that people talk about tools and tools and tools when there's just some pretty plain hygiene that people should exercise, right?
Yeah, we talk about PPT, right? People, process, and technology. And so you want to make sure you're outlining that and regarding the motions. Obviously, the foundation is going to be the people, and it's also the single largest vector that does cause for security incidents. And so, and that's where the processes come in play. You got to make sure you have those defined, make sure there's an understanding amongst the entire organization what those processes are and why they're important. We talk a lot in our organization internally about the why. Everybody down to the frontline workers needs to understand the why of what we do and why we're doing it. And then you have the technology aspect. Those are the products, those are the solutions. There's no silver bullet. There's not a single product out there. We talk a lot. You commented about the layers. My favorite is using the onion analogy, right? Because there's numerous layers to that onion, and there's numerous layers to the security onion, and it really comes into the forefront when you're starting to layer that approach and protect the environment.
Now you're a hunter.
I am.
Your approach to solving these problems in cybersecurity and what you do, is it more science than art?
I would say probably. You're looking at a lot of the data points and kind of correlating that information. I do the same thing when I'm hunting.
Really?
Yep. So, typically we're out a few months ahead of time, depending on the season, and we're putting up cameras, seeing what's moving where and how they're moving. We also go through the motions of checking everything and prepping, right? So, 2 months before I even set foot out there during the winter for deer season, I'm out there tightening the ropes and making sure the deer stands are proper, set up. There's nothing wiggling, because the last thing I want to do at 5 in the morning while I've got my hunter orange on and I'm sweating just from walking in is the tree stand to fall down.
Wow. Thorough.
Yep.
Same thing with cybersecurity.
Exactly.
Lots of parallels can be drawn there.
Exactly.
What attracts you to it? I mean, there's just these such bad actors everywhere, and in Asia and wherever, Eastern Europe, and they're just trying to figure out how to get in.
Yeah, I think really what drew me to it was the ever changing, right? So, I took some lessons from my mom a long time ago to be a lifelong learner. She's an educator by trade, and so that's where I think that backbone is. I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the one who went into IT. Everybody else did something in and around the education realm for the most part. And so, for me, I was able to continue my education, continue learning and growing, even in this area. And I find it riveting, because no 2 days are the same.
They're not. Zach, has there been anything in recent history that you've changed your mind on?
That's a good question. I think for me in the security realm, it's not just burying my head in the sand sometimes, right? Is reading those stories, understanding what's happening, and then trying to put back into practice what we can do internally, but also for our customers. And so we really need to be in front of those things to constantly learn from them. From time to time, you'll read those articles and you go, oh, that CVE that's out there for that random Linux box, well, that's not going to impact us. But and then you go look a little closer and you realize, well, how many operating systems are actually running Linux on the base, right? And you just have to look finer and dig in deeper.
Routers,
Yeah, absolutely.
CVE?
Yep.
Is?
Common vulnerability.
Yeah, it's and how is AI going to help and how's it going to hurt?
That's a good one. I think I'll answer the latter part first. I think it's going to hurt us because everybody's going to be leveraging it.
Right.
Both the good guys and the bad guys. And the bad guys are probably going to be even better at it before we get better at it. We talk a lot about deep fakes and all that. But AI is already transforming the way we do cybersecurity. It's been out there. We've been leveraging it logically for well over 6 years with our Sentry XDR platform, our SIM solution. Correlating those data points, making it so much easier for our SOC team, our analysts to go through, identify what is actually a real threat, attack it, lock it down, and then work with a customer to remediate anything on the back end.
Wow. So it's going to hurt because we can make a level playing field, and it's going to help in that you can get to solutions quicker.
You got it.
Yeah. I always wonder like how AI affects everyone.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And I think that's the misconception around AI. It's also a misconception surrounding it is that everybody has access to it and everybody's using it whether they know it or not, right? Siri, Alexa, right? These are all AI driven tools.
Yeah, they are.
Even Amazon in general is leveraging AI. Josh talked about it the other day in one of his keynotes, right? They're going through the motions. They're tracking all the information so that when you log on, your view on Amazon.com is going to be different than my view, right? And this time of year, you better bet that I'm getting a bunch of camo ads popped up on my Amazon. They know what I'm about to do.
I'll never forget the one time. This was years ago when Harry Potter was popular, and I had ordered the second book, and I said, "Let me see a list of the Harry Potter," and it showed me 1, 3, and 4. It didn't show me 2 because it already knew I bought it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
It is.
It's absolutely crazy, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago. Can you imagine some of the trends they can find now?
Exactly.
It's really going to be something. What motivates you?
I think for me, the motivation is really helping our customers, specifically in the area of cybersecurity and being that we are those experts, those professionals. I talk with my team to make sure that they're speaking with confidence every time. We're hired by our customers because we're the experts. We're the professionals. We want to make sure we're speaking with that level set of confidence. And the last thing we do is, you don't have a necessary answer. We're going to go research that for you, and we're going to come back to the table and talk it through. So it's really what kind of drives that initiative.
So given that motivation, how do you measure success?
So, for me, measuring success is keeping our customers' names out of the newspaper. We talk a lot internally about protecting the brands of our customers, and we want to make sure that we're feeding that back out and going through those motions. Last thing we want is to have a headline with one of our major customers out there, and then also see our name in the news because we didn't protect them.
Right.
Sometimes things happen, right? Mistakes happen, errors happen. Threat actors are always evolving. And so that's where we really want to make sure that we're evolving with the ecosystem, with the landscape.
Does that keep you up at night?
I will tell you that the first thing I do in the morning and the last thing I do at night is I check my phone and I read my emails and I check my team's messages. It doesn't keep me up at night per se, unless there's an active incident, an active issue going on, and then I find trouble sleeping. I am fortunate that the moment my head hits the pillow, I'm usually asleep.
Me too.
My wife hates it, but I enjoy that aspect. But it is troubling sometimes.
Yeah, it's just ever moving landscape, and there's just more and more players coming in because there's more and more surface attack areas.
Exactly, right? And they talk a lot about not paying ransoms, right? When those ransoms happens, it's motivation for those threat actors, right? We consistently pay them, and this is what we've seen over the last 10 to 12 years is that the transition from hitting up individuals to hitting up corporations, they had success. $500 here, $200 here, a gift card there, right? Well, they got paid off of it. Why wouldn't they continue doing it? It's a career for them.
I know a company, I don't know if they're still around. It was a couple of years ago that their model was negotiating with the bad actors to get a discount, and they get a percentage of it.
Yeah.
So it's become a...
There are ransomware negotiators out there. We actually had a keynote last year here at LogicCon talking about that. It was a negotiator who came in, who that's their sole purpose, their job. They're really tactful. It was a really intriguing talk to hear about. I know it's on our website, so anybody can go pull that down from last year and watch that keynote. But it's very interesting when you hear those individuals talk on the phone and with threat actors, or even internally talking with customers. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's what we're going to stage. Here are the motions.
Yeah, because it's not just they steal the data, and then, like, I remember there was a plastic surgeon in Las Vegas, I think, and then they went at the patients.
Yep, absolutely.
And they said, look, if you don't pay us, we're going to reveal these photos of you before and after and what you did. And there were celebrities in there. And so it's not just the actual house, but it's the actual data itself.
Right. At that
they
point.
They get paid twice.
Exactly. It's that house of cards, right?
So clever.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but and that's where we need to be in front of them and using our knowledge and our skills to make sure that we're allowing for the right policies in place, right data segmentation in place, so that we can protect customers. So if and when it happens, right, there's that notion, talked about in my keynote not too long ago, right? There's two types of companies out there, right? This is a favorite saying of this former Cisco CEO is two types of customers out there, the ones that have been breached and the ones that don't know it yet. It'll happen. It's just about what you do. It's how you prepare it and how you deal with the fallout afterwards.
Back in the old days, we used to say that about hard drives.
Yep,
It's not going to be when it's going to be if. Yeah. It man, it's really, and so just common things people could do. Anybody listening, MFA is one layer.
MFA is everything when it comes to, and it's not on one product, one solution. It's on everything. You're starting to see a lot of organizations are pushing it out, right? Banks are the most common these days, are forcing it on their customers. Beyond that, it's training and knowledge. Like I said, you got to make sure everybody understands the why. And so whether you're leveraging a platform that's doing security awareness training or not, you can develop your own content. But what you want to do is make sure that you're training your staff and they have an understanding. And then lastly is the positive motivation for people to report incidents and issues, right? Even if it is something that is a internal fake phishing campaign, we still want you to report it. We do that internally. Good job, guys. You caught this one. This was a know before phishing campaign. Thanks for being diligent. Because the more you do that, the less likely they are to fall for an actual issue.
Very cool. I wish you well. Thanks so much for your time today. Anybody listening, if they want to get in touch with you, LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yep. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on the Logically website as well. Zack.Finstad at logically.com. I'm always available. Hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a message, send me a friend request, and we'll chat.
Very good. Thanks so much. Great
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.